Namaste everyone, I'm Lisa Grail. Hope you're doing great and enjoying your time. And I want to make your time even more joyful and give you some knowledge that you can apply into your daily life. Today's podcast might seem a little bit boring, but only at first, because we will talk about tissues in the body and fascia. Things that don't sound too exciting. But please stay with me. I want to explain one more angle of why daily Kundalini yoga affects our consciousness and how it speeds up awakening. Remember, awakening is possible without any practice at all. If you are tired of practicing, if your body is overwhelmed, you just need slow, dynamic meditations, like daily walking with concentration of your attention in the moment, in your body, on breath, and then you will see results as well. If you can relax deeply and be fully present each second of your time, 24/7, the doors of perception, the doors of awareness open naturally. And we have a bunch of examples like this. For instance, my favorite Eckhart Tolle. But for most of us, the body carries layers of tension and memory, and this slows down the process. That's why body work, body-oriented therapy, especially fascial release through Kundalini yoga, can accelerate this journey significantly. Literally from years to months or even weeks. What is fascia and why it matters? Fascia is a thin but strong web of tissue that wraps around every muscle, bone, nerve, organ, and blood vessel in the body. It's like a three-dimensional spider web that connects everything to everything else. Fascia moves with us, stores water, and carries nerve endings. If one part of the web gets tight, it can pull on other areas. That's why a stiff neck might be connected to tension in the hips, or stress in the belly can affect the shoulders. Fascia is alive. It reacts to pressure, stretch, vibration, and even our emotional state. If you move in repetitive, rhythmic ways like rocking, shaking, stretching with breath, the fascia remodels itself and becomes more elastic and free. And because fascia has many nerve endings, it also plays a big role in how we feel our body from the inside, our sense of posture, balance, and even our mood. For the profound practitioners and people who already awakened and, for instance, minimize the quantity of food they eaten, they can hear how the blood runs through blood vessels, how organs reshape, and sometimes it's not very pleasant sensations, though they are necessary because usually we do not feel our body at all. We live completely in our mind. Fascia can get stiff or stuck. This happens after injuries, surgeries, inflammation, bad posture, or simply by sitting too long. Stress and trauma also create constant tension like armor in the tissue. Over time, fascia thickens and hardens, and this keeps us in a loop of stress. That's why with the age, our body seems like shrinking. It's not just physical. Stiff fascia has been linked with depression and low energy. When fascia is dense, the body literally feeds the brain with negative signals, keeping us in heavy states of mind. How fascial release changes consciousness? Write in comments if you feel all these changes after doing Kriyas on my channel. First of all, changing body signals. When you release tension in fascia, you change the messages going to the brain. Suddenly, the nervous system gets new information, and the whole sense of self can shift. You can change your character. You might feel lighter, taller, calmer, more self-confident. Next one, better inner sensing. Innervation of all organs. When fascia softens, you feel your body from the inside with more clarity. This interoception, this inner listening, helps us manage emotions better. It reduces mental noise and gives a sense of control and calm. Third point, nervous system reset. Releasing fascia also affects the vagus nerve, the main highway of the parasympathetic system, the system of rest and recovery. As fascia softens, the breath deepens, the heart rhythm stabilizes, and we naturally feel more peaceful and present. Everyone who is with me on my channel for years knows my trip, psychedelic trip to Las Vegas, 7 days in a row, Vagus Nerve Kriya. and experienced 40-hour lasting samadhi. So it's not joking, it's just consequence of bodily attunement. That day I will never forget. Sure, after this day I also had more deep states, but it was the first time in my life, and as I was not using drugs, it was kind of very beautiful experience, I will say. I would never think that it's possible to experience such things, ever. And sure, next one is releasing stored emotions. Many people experience emotions rising during fascial release. Old sadness, anger, or fear can surface. This is because fascia holds protective patterns from past events. Letting go in the tissue also lets go in the psyche. It's completely normal if when you start practicing Kundalini yoga, you have some emotions rising. Don't hold them, don't suppress them. That's why I think my channel is super beneficial for those who do not want to show these emotions to teacher, to the group of practitioners at class. In your home, in your space, you can cry out, you can scream out everything which is collected in your body. So, eventually, after you released all blocks, all emotions which stored in you, you will have some energetic experiences. In Kundalini practice, these releases can feel like energy rising through the spine, tingling, heat, or spontaneous movements. From one view, this is simply the nervous system receiving new freedom. From another, it's the flow of Kundalini energy moving through pathways that were once blocked. You see the practice and the term of Kundalini rising is now less esoteric. Remember that our mood, character, which we are so attached to throughout all our lives, is only the projection of body condition, chemical processes and state of muscles, tendons, fascia, nervous system and hormonal system. That's why Kundalini Yoga changes lives of people. Also, I've noticed during practice, any Kriya has its own taste, but in process I'm getting inspired to do something, create or receive download from Akashic records. Why Kundalini Yoga is so effective for fascia? Kundalini Yoga includes dynamic, rhythmic movements, bouncing, shaking, repetitive spinal flexing, like in cat-cow. These movements are exactly what fascia responds to best. Breath combined with motion, breath of fire, deep, long breathing, pranayamas, and breath retention also massage the tissues from inside, especially the fascia around the diaphragm and chest. Mantra and focus. This directs the mind inward, calms the nervous system, and makes it safer to release deep tensions. Micro movements and spontaneous unwinding. Small adjustments or spontaneous movements in Kundalini practice look very much like professional myofascial release therapy. Now a little bit about fascia, brain chemistry, and the glands. When fascia softens and becomes more fluid, it doesn't just change how your muscles feel, it also influences your brain chemistry and even your glands. Scientists are discovering that fascia is full of nerve endings and communicates directly with the autonomic nervous system. When fascia is tight, it constantly sends signals of stress to the brain. When it's released, those signals shift, and the brain responds by producing more feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine and others. And the cannabinoids are my favorite. Fascia release also helps regulate cortisol, the main stress hormone. If fascia is chronically tense, the adrenal glands keep pumping stress hormones. But once the tissues relax, the vagus nerve becomes more active, and the body signals to the glands, "You are safe now." That's why, after long, prolonged, and consistent practice of Kundalini Yoga, you cannot be nervous anymore. If you cannot be nervous, you shift with your consciousness into neocortex more and have more clarity, more rational decisions, and not fight or flight regime when we try to decide something out of our limbic system, our reptilian brain, that will never help us to be in daily life more adequate and more sober. So this whole process I described connected to the brain lowers cortisol and allows the pituitary and pineal glands, the so-called master glands, they are the major glands of our endocrine system, to function with more balance. That's why after deep practice, only one time even, people often report clearer thinking, better sleep, and even moments of bliss. So if we constantly practice, our moments of bliss are installed in our system. We have better sleep, and by the way, I shared for free members Kriya for a good sleep. And thing is, for instance, on my experience, when I was depressed, I was oversleeping and it was poisoning me. It was much worse than overeating. It's like being unplugged from reality and being so depressed that you don't want to wake up at all. You want to sleep. It was like up to 12 hours a day. And it was not helping me. Thing is that I was only poisoning myself more. But when I started consistent Kundalini practice, after 2 years of daily practice, my sleep naturally decreased to 4 hours a day. And then, when the permanent bliss was installed in me, I was doing another practices and a lot of connected with my nutrition, these things. Then I could easily practice sleep deprivation. Sleep doesn't leave me at all, but I can apply sleep deprivation for my goals. For instance, if I want to accelerate some processes in my life, or I want to deepen my states of consciousness. Some researchments suggest that when the fascia around the diaphragm and chest is freed, it improves oxygenation and stimulates the hypothalamus, which is directly connected to mood regulation and energy balance. Hypothalamus, by the way, also regulates how much we want to eat and whether we want to eat out of emotions to calm down ourselves or we already fine. In yogic language, this is the opening of the heart center and the activation of higher consciousness. You become blissful, loving, relaxed, and very satisfied with your life, even sometimes despite any circumstances around you. So this inner peace, inner paradise is within you. So you see what feels like a simple stretch or shaken movement, this all influencing the very chemistry of our brain and the delicate hormonal orchestra that shapes your emotions, energy, and awareness. And we devalue sometimes and being a little bit lazy about it, don't want to practice only because I feel good, I feel fine. But if we practice daily, we have much more results and our life changes even much rapidly to the better. If I would not practice Kundalini Yoga ever, I would never discover many beautiful things. I will never meet beautiful people on my way. Because once I changed my body, I changed the whole life. What we don't know yet is exactly how fascial changes cause long-term shifts in consciousness. Science is just beginning to explore this. What we do know is that people report feeling freer, lighter, and more awake after these practices. What I know, Kundalini Yoga tunes body to let spiritual awakening happen. I'm convinced awakened state is our natural state, but we are all blocked in trauma and long stress. We are being dominated by our blocks and our mind, which is living like an armor and tries to control everything, events, other people, with its illusions, expectations, and especially fear, which doesn't allow us to try something new, to relocate, to experience new hobby even. We have this self-restriction, and even if I was dreaming about something, I'm postponing because my mind holds me. I like this example. If you want to poop, you run into the toilet, right? So the same with any business. Without overthinking it, just doing, acting. If you don't know how to act, there are many suggestions, even through ChatGPT. Use AI not as a monster who will enslave civilization, but as a helper. I also can help you to see these blocks and encourage you to act. I see that person speaks out himself if I little bit highlight some area, some aspect of some situation. Person says, yes, to be honest, I'm afraid, but I want to do this. And he goes in and doing for his own sake. So here the result is that the energy, pranic energy, energy of life that should be flowing freely through all our systems is blocked. Speaking of which, rare nutrition or life without food will be available only when we balanced all our systems, organs, and there is a free flow of natural electricity flowing through us. I remember, guys, when I was not doing any yoga back in 2014, I spent 7 days dry without food and water, but my body was not high. I mean, I was in my mind. I was only counting hours. I heard that this is good for you. I was not searching for transcendental experiences, which dry fasting can give you if you apply dry fasting correctly. I just saw some guy on YouTube who was 19 days dry fasting, sitting in cold water, plunging, and I was inspired by him. He was emitting good energy. So I experimented, but I had no sensations in my body, even close what I have right now. What is important as a safety? Always stay gently. Fascia changes slowly. So you don't need to practice daily, like Monster Lisa Grail, but probably skip couple days to let your body adjust. Or you can do more breathwork kriyas instead of all body workouts. More frequent short sessions are better than one long forceful one. If strong emotions come up, pause, breathe, and ground yourself, which you can do very comfortably while you have my videos with guidance, music, and you can pause them anytime during your practice. Also, people with recent injuries, surgeries, or trauma should move carefully and maybe consult a professional if you have hernias or protrusions in the spine especially. So above my 25 or 26 free classes available for everyone, I really recommend you to join membership. I've created different membership options starting from very affordable up to a level that I personally see as the cost of just one dinner in Europe or USA. With this, you'll unlock access to practice with all 140 Kundalini yoga videos. And use the playlists. It's simple and intuitive. For example, if you feel stressed and want to work on your nervous system today, you will find wonderful practices for the vagus nerve, balancing the brain hemispheres, and full reset sessions. If certain emotions are overwhelming, just open the Kriyas for Emotions playlist. There you will find practices for healing, forgiveness, anger, resentment, irritation, depression. Kriya for cold depression. This is my personal treasure. I was using this Kriya all the time. I felt this negative thoughts attack. It resets completely all nervous system. It's a very hard Kriya, but probably you will release these tough emotions and crying out your pain during it. And then after, you will feel huge relief. I truly believe I've already recorded a huge library of valuable practices, which is why I stopped filming for a while. Maybe forever. I don't know. Guys, I'm not planning. So if I have an inspiration, I'm doing. If I feel that people are grateful and I have some income, which is normal exchange of energy between us, if I feel it, I'm inspired to give you more and more. This is how it works. It's very time-consuming work. Of course, I know many more Kriyas, and in private Zoom sessions, we can dive into new ones together, according to your requirements. I have 10 classes package via Zoom, and 1 class as you like. I will pin link to tap link, where you will see all my prices, all my services. You're welcome. Also can say that on my channel you can see classic Kriyas and you can find them on YouTube, but also you will discover Kriyas which was never filmed anywhere else. At least I didn't see, or someone refilmed after me. So if you'd love to deepen your practice and support this work, which I'm doing, consider joining the membership. If membership is not available in your country, try to join through a friend who is living in different country where memberships are open, or I can give you around 64 Kriyas with endless success. I have specific file with links and also links to my courses for free on YouTube, and one payment which you will see how much in my services list, and you will have access endlessly to these Kriyas. So my conclusion today, guys, is fascia is the living web that holds our body together. When we work with it through movement, breath, and awareness, we don't just release stiffness. We change the way the brain feels the body, and therefore how consciousness expresses itself. Everything is very simple. I could dive to more scientific chemical composition processes, but I think you won't stand it. It will be too boring. My purpose with this video was only to inspire you, because many people for years stuck in procrastination, in depression, in apathy. They're not acting, they don't want to change. But if you would only know that if you practice Kundalini yoga daily for some time, persistently, you will change and your life will change. You won't be doubting anymore. By moving and breathing through the fascial network, we accelerate the natural process of becoming present. We free not only the body, but also the mind and spirit. My favorite topic in life, I may say, is phenomena of spiritual awakening and the states it gives us and how it unfolds with time. If we keep on going, keep on developing, it gives us even more deep states, even more some visions, knowledge, downloads, feeling of other people. For instance, when I was singing yesterday, I met a couple, beautiful Afro-American girl and Asian guy. I saw them and I had this download. They will have very beautiful baby. And when I started to talk with the girl, she said that she's pregnant, though it's not seen. It was so amazing. So you have this knowledge always coming, hyper intuition, even telepathy. Sometimes you just need to get accustomed to this new vision and trust it. So thank you for your attention. Practice Kundalini yoga. If any questions, write me on email. If you want to book any service from me, also write on email or Telegram. And stay true and kind. The rest things, never mind. Sat Nam.